No problem. So our Caribbean Canadian identity, people who are native to or descending from Caribbean nations, regions, territories, including their variations by ancestry, ethnicity, and currently reside in Canada and self-identify as Caribbean Canadian. We represent, serve, and belong in the Caribbean Canadian community. We deliberate in supporting the sole shared identity in our space. We do not promote racism or colonialism. No scientific labels such as black, brown, and white are not tolerated. Further hate, political, and religious debates are not tolerated.
Thank you, Danielle. Danielle, do you want to just read this one through as well, if you don't mind?
Sure. Did you know?
Thanks.
Recognizing that race is a social construct, the Commission describes people as racialized person or racialized group instead of the more outdated and inaccurate terms racial minority, visible minority, person of color, or non-white.
Thank you. So this is the language that we'd like to use in this forum that we have here, rather than saying brown person or person of color. If we could use racialized person or group, that would be much better. And it's all starting to practice the correct terminology that we would like to use in our space. So I think it's probably something, you know, going forward, if we're all aware of it, then, you know, when you start using it outside of this forum, then, you know, friends, family, and others within hearing distance will also probably start to use it or think twice about how they're using their words. One second. So I have a question. By a show of hands, who knew there was 43 countries in the Caribbean? You guys will have to help me with that. Do we have all hands up?
Some half up and half down.
Half up and half down. Okay. I know we all know the common ones, but then there's a lot of other ones that are there. So if you want to just take a quick look and see, and I think for some, like myself, at the beginning, there was places on here that I was like, oh, really? That's part of the Caribbean. Do you agree, Lynette? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was asking Lynette. Can't hear you. If you're talking, your mic is muted still.
No, I was just saying I didn't realize Colombia was part of our group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had Oliver, who you'll see on screen there. He's the one who him and Camille, they did the research on this. So it was really enlightening when I joined.
Yep.
To see some of these places that are listed on here.
Well, Oliver and I can't take all the credit. We did work with some other members as well. A team of us actually did it. Okay. Yeah. So it was a lot of work because you can't find this information in one place. Yeah. You have to dig. There's no accurate history about the Caribbean anywhere online. Yeah. I'm interested, Beverley, to see who is representing where tonight. Everyone on this call, there's 14 of us. Which of these Caribbean countries are each of us representing? Can you type it in the Zoom chat?
Note of interest.
Yes, Carol, go ahead.
Guyana, Suriname is not a Caribbean country. They're South American countries, but they're part of CARICOM.
They're considered a Caribbean region, or sorry, territory.
So just because they're part of CARICOM.
Yeah, so this is a combination of nations, regions, and territories.
Yes, correct. Part of the territory, yes. So it's either country, region, or territory, Caribbean territory, countries, or Caribbean region. Thanks for that, Camille. I was just about to say, we can't take all the credit. It's a lot of feedback and research from other members as well.
Yeah, see, I didn't realize that because honestly, I thought it was just the two of you that did it. So, but it's great to know. So I'm going to move on from here.
Before we move on, I'd like to kind of read out the different representing from different highlands area of Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica again, Guyana, St. Lucia, Guyana again, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Barbados, and Trinidad. Anyone else who didn't get a chance to kind of jump in? Well, Beverley is doing her presentation. Feel free to do so.
Beverley, did you mention where you're representing?
No, I am representing St. Lucia.
Sorry, Beverley, before we continue, would you mind if I put up a short poll?
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, so if I could ask everyone to take maybe 10 seconds to fill out this poll. It's coming up on your screen now. It's asking 3 questions. Number 1, do you self-identify as Caribbean Canadian? Number 2, do you agree to be mindful in using the term, as Danielle had read out, using the term Caribbean Canadian throughout this entire meetup? And number 3, do you agree to stay visible on your camera and participate for the entire duration of this event? We just want to make sure we have the right people in the room before we continue. So maybe another 20 seconds. We'll wait for everybody to fill it out. Or maybe 10 seconds, not 20, 10 seconds. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Go ahead, Beverley. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's okay. So here is a list of the main historical Caribbean ancestries that are found in any, and I don't know, in some, maybe all, of the countries in the Caribbean. Did everybody know this, or is this new information?
Show of hands, who knew it? So again, Beverley, half up and half down.
Okay. And as well, there are 6 official languages in the Caribbean. Again, show of hands on this one. Who knew this?
I think it might be good to explain what is Papiamento. I've never heard of it. I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I shouldn't speak for the rest on the call.
Camille, might you be able to help me with the Papiamento?
It's spoken in Aruba, in the ABCs.
It's also spoken in Curaçao, yes, in Curaçao as well.
Yes.
Like a broken Dutch.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Lynette.
Welcome.
I think Jaya wanted to add something.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, yes. Papiamento is almost similar to Creole. Creole is broken French and English. So Papiamento is broken Spanish mixed with Dutch, mixed with English, and a little bit of Creole. So it's a mixture of those languages. So it's almost like a street kind of language, just like the Creole is.
Oh.
So it's a whole mixture of the Spanish, English, Dutch, Creole.
Oh, okay. I guess we wouldn't be fortunate to have anybody on here who can speak it, eh?
Not yet. Thank you,
Okay.
Jay. And Mark
Thank
has
you.
a comment in the Zoom chat. He found it on the internet. Papiamento, I'm assuming. Papiamento is a Creole language containing elements of Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, English, and French. as well as Arawakan and African languages. It's spoken by about 330,000 people in Curacao, Bonaire, and Aruba, which were formerly known as the Netherlands Antilles.
Oh, all right. That's pretty interesting. Okay, we're going to move on. Now, I can only see Lynette as one of our guests. So might I get you to read this screen if you don't mind?
Did you know cultural identity is an important contributor to people's well-being? Identifying with a particular culture gives people feelings of belonging and security. It also provides people with access to social networks, which provide support and shared values and aspirations. These can help break down barriers and build a sense of trust between people, a phenomenon sometimes referred to as social capital.
Thank you. So now we're moving on to our participant intros. So I will leave this up so everybody knows what they've got to respond to. So I'm going to start with myself. So my name is Beverley, and I am representing St. Lucia, as I just mentioned. And why did I join the movement? I think like that last slide indicated, we all want a sense of belonging. And I feel that in this organization, I've been in other organizations where, you know, yes, you feel like you're part of it, but then, I don't know, sometimes something just goes wrong and you're like, no, I just don't need to do this anymore. But here it's a great organization and people they're great. That's all I can really say. So I wanted to be part of the movement and moving it forward and get it recognized out there in our community. So if somebody would like to go next, I'm going to see if I could go through who I see here. Jay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jaya. Everyone calls me Jay. I'm from St. Lucia. And why did I join the movement? I think it's important that we learn and appreciate who we are as people, where our heritage is a big part of it. It's also a way of keeping our heritage going, especially for our younger generations. And one of my goals is to carry our culture through our younger generation. So I found this very interesting. It's a good place to start. And what better way to start than with people who are like-minded as you? It will help propel you in your goal of starting the re-education process of who we are and loving who we are. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you. I have David next.
Good evening, everybody. Good to see all the people, all the Caribbean people. I am a member of C5, which is Commerce and Community in Toronto. I really enjoy talking about the Canadian culture and how, being a Caribbean person, how I contribute to that culture. And I'm looking forward to meeting and greeting with everyone on board today. I didn't see Union Island in there, or St. Vincent. I know St. Vincent, it was on the chat list. My sister's from St. Vincent. My mom is born in Union Island before they had the airport and so forth. But I was actually born in Port of Spain. So my dad is Jamaican, so I have to I have to claim all three countries because that's what I know. And Canada is one of those countries, so. I guess Oliver can go next, right?
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks. Hi, everyone. So my name is Oliver, and I'm repping Jamaica. And why I joined this movement was pretty straightforward for me. I'm always, involved in the community, and I, when I saw this organization and being so much in the community, and also I wasn't too versed on, the Caribbean side of things, and I always wanted to know more about the Caribbean. And just like David, I enjoy learning more about the Caribbean, but most importantly is for me to leave a legacy for my kids, to make sure our culture is not dying down. It's vibrant, and and it's really pushing forward, and we're thriving. So that's really why I joined this movement, just to leave a legacy, and to for the kids to feel a sense of belonging, knowing that there's a community that they're part of. Thank you. Back to you, Beverly.
Thanks, Oliver. I'm going to have Lynette speak for us now.
Hi, my name is Lynette Marshall. Actually, it's Martial. And I'm from St. Lucia. I've been here in Canada for many years. I'm going to be quite honest and say that I signed up and registered out of curiosity. I wanted to find out what this was about. I'm a fiercely loyal St. Lucian. I know a lot about the Caribbean. I've visited a lot of the islands, but I wanted to find out what this group was about, how it's structured, what exactly we're supposed to be discussing and doing. And I think we, as a result of all the recent crises in the world and the region, I think it's really important to network and to have some grounding and to be able to interact with our sister islands.
Did we lose her?
Yeah,
Your screen froze.
Sorry, I missed that. What was that?
Her screen froze.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, maybe she's going to get bumped off. Okay. Well, I guess we'll carry on, and when she comes back, she can finish her thought. Chelsea.
Hi, everyone. Great to be here. My name is Chelsea, and I'm representing the island or the country of Guyana. Why I joined the movement is that I wanted to meet like-minded people, and I found CWS through their website and really connected to the mission statement. So again, really happy to be here with all of you.
Thanks, Chelsea. Ingrid B.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ingrid. I'm representing Guyana. And similar to Chelsea and some others, for me, I wanted an opportunity to be with like-minded people while at the same time learning about the Caribbean. That's it for me. Oh, I'm with the Caribbean Women's Society and the Caribbean Canadian Parents United.
Thank you. Carol. Is she there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
My name is Carol. I'm with representing Guyana, and I'm just looking for like-minded, like myself, platinum blondes like myself.
Thank you. Let me see. Lisa.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa. I'm representing Barbados. I'm a director of Caribbean Canadian Parents United and a member of Caribbean Women's Society. And I joined the movement to be around other Caribbean people and to also learn more about Caribbean culture and heritage so that I can pass along the knowledge to my kids.
Fair enough. Thank you. Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark Kerr, member of C5, so I'm a director on the C5 board, as well as a member of the Parents United. I represent Jamaica, and I joined the movement to, again, similar to Lisa and the rest of the group, just to be more in tune with our community, try to help to grow and help, get a better understanding of other islands and help our children also be part of this learning process and be more, a part of the Caribbean culture.
Thank you. Candy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Candy Balaram. I am representing Trinidad and Tobago. I decided to join the movement because of Miss Mama Bev over there, Miss Alicia. She tuned me into this and just, talked about it being a group of like-minded people. Again, I came here at a very young age, so I didn't get the opportunity to bond with my country of origin and learn as much as I could about it. So this has been an awesome opportunity to do so.
Thank you. Lynette, I know you got bumped off. Were you finished your thought?
Sorry.
That's okay.
My battery died. I wasn't plugged in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just saying that it gives us an opportunity to reach out to our sister islands and to our network. Networking is so important now. They said if you're not networking, you soon will not be working. So it's important for us to network and to connect with each other and to be more considerate of each other and to understand each other's concerns and what have you. Basically, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Danielle?
Good night. I am Danielle, representing the island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I am currently a member of Caribbean Women's Society, as well as a member and board director on the Caribbean Canadian Parents United. The reason I joined this movement is because I wanted to be more involved with my Caribbean culture. Initially joining the women's movement or the Women's Society to be among other like-minded women in our culture, Caribbean culture, as well as to learn more about it and as well to pass on more of the fullness of the Caribbean culture to my daughter.
Great. Camille.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Camille, representing Trinidad and Tobago. I'm the founder of the movement, which is a coalition between 3 organizations. You can see behind me, there are 3 logos, purple, blue, and green. I founded these organizations over the course of the last 6 years. Since 2015 is when I started the journey. Originally, it started as a cultural, all 3 of them were cultural organizations. And then over time, it has evolved. And it got to the point where I realized it was a lot bigger than what I thought it was. So it turned into a movement, I would say, in the last 2 years, where we really see the need for our community to buy into what it is that we're selling, which is working unity, having a collective perspective, having a plan, and all of us working together to make sure that this community thrives here in Canada. Personally speaking, I started it because I had a void that I wanted to fill. I was looking to connect with other Caribbean women and just have new friends from different islands and different ethnicities and different countries. And that's why I started the women's group, Caribbean Women's Society. And then I'm a parent I have 5 children, a mother to 5 children. And I realized I didn't have a network of parents, Caribbean Canadian parents around me that I could ask for support or I could offer help to. And so as a result of that, I started the Caribbean Canadian Parents United. And then when I started looking at having like a for-profit business venture, I realized that there was no chamber that's focused on the Caribbean Canadian perspective and the hurdles that we encounter every day in Canada. And that's why I started the Caribbean Canadian Chamber of Commerce and Community. So it started out with me just filling a void that I had personally, and then seeing when other Caribbean people were in agreement or they were drawn to these organizations, I realized that it was a bigger calling. So that's how it started. And so that's why I'm here. So it's not just to help Caribbean Canadians, not just to help myself, not just to help Caribbean Canadians of 2021, but also to help my children. So now these organizations are here for them as when they become adults, right? They now have these 3 organizations and maybe more that, you know, they can feel comfortable. My children are half Trinidadian, half Jamaican. So they don't fit into one, they don't fit into Trini organization or they don't fit into Jamaican organization. There's a lot of children now and grandchildren, et cetera, that have more than one nationality. Where do they fit in? So it was important for me to create a space for my kids as they grow where they feel that they fit in somewhere. Thank you.
Thanks. And last but not least, I believe, is Ingrid O. Is she there? Is she still
Muted.
just on her
Sorry
number?
about that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I've had a rough week. It's been very hectic with me right now. Anyways, I joined the organization because I wanted to get to know other islands, see what common grounds we have, and maybe we could unite and come together, which is very important to the Caribbean community because we all should stick together and be one.
Great.
That's it.
Thank you. Did I miss anybody? Okay.
Looks like you got everybody, Beverly.
Got everybody? Okay, thank you. So moving on. So the Caribbean Canadian community is suffering an identity crisis, and that was put together by our esteemed president, Camille. So I guess, you know, if we look at the big picture here, us being all in Canada, you know, socially, economically, politically, and culturally, you know, I guess sometimes we try to figure where do we fit in? And sometimes it's hard because I would say, I'm going to use myself as, it's, you know, in the work environment, I don't see people who look like me. You know, so it's like you got one face on during the day, and it's when you leave work, then you can, you know, be yourself. At least culturally, you can be yourself and you interact with other Caribbean people, and that's what I do on my, you know, outside of work time. So does anybody else feel that same way, or do you agree or disagree? And if you want to share your comments, that would be great.
I've been in this country over 40 years, and I've learned to adapt and to acculturate and to fit into whatever group that wherever I work. I currently work in the Northwest Territories, and I'm the only, let me look for this term, racialized person in the group. I work with Inuit people, I work with First Nations, I work with people from all over Canada. Mm-hmm. And I am very proud of being the only St. Lucian Caribbean person around. And I let them know very much, you know, I'm from the Caribbean and this is what we do and this is how we do things. And, you know, you can learn from me and I can learn from you. So I don't see that and I guess I interact a lot with Caribbean people too during the course of my, the course of the day. You talk to people, even if they don't work with you, you speak to them and what have you. So I personally have not felt the need to remove my Caribbean hat, so to speak, when I am with non-Caribbean people, because first of all, I sound very Caribbean for being here for 40 something years. And you know, I let them know where I'm from and what I'm about. So I guess it varies from person to person.
Great. Can I just ask a question? Did you say you're in the Northwest Territories?
Yes, that's where I work.
Awesome.
Yeah, but my house is in Mississauga, so I come down for a couple of weeks and I'm back up there for 10, 12 weeks and so on. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's really interesting because they all know where St. Lucia is. They all know where St. Vincent is. They all know the Caribbean because I walk around with my map and I show them this is where I'm from. So I teach them as we go along. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So it's sharing. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Sure, I can add.
Thank you.
I agree with this statement. The Caribbean Canadian community is suffering an identity crisis. So one thing when I look at, even at work, when they ask me to fill out a form and to kind of check off a box where I'm from, obviously Jamaica is not there and Caribbean is not there, right? And I don't identify myself as Black and anything there as well. And even recently I saw a poll, there's about 18 different ways you can identify yourself, and Caribbean is not one of them. So yes, I agree with that statement.
So is that where you fill out other?
Yes.
And then write it in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. I'll go other and then write it in. Yes. And I wouldn't, I'm glad you said that too. I wouldn't write Jamaican, I'll write Caribbean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Anybody else?
I'll just add to that as well.
Mm-hmm.
What we've talked about before when we say, well, my parents were born in the Caribbean, but I represent Canada. And growing up, just understanding more so now, where even my father will say, well, you know, you're Canadian born, but you got Vincentian blood running through your veins. That is 100% correct. And it's definitely how I always identified. But now I've dropped the whole, my parents were born in St. Vincent and I'm from Canada. I just say I'm Vincentian, right? And if somebody want to know where I'm born, well, yeah, I was born here, but I am Vincentian. So it's definitely a change of mindset and understanding of what your heritage is and what your culture is and how important that is for your identity. So yeah, I would just add that on, and in agreement with this quote by Mrs. Kerr.
Yes. One more?
I'll go.
Anybody else? Okay.
Yeah, I always have something to say about this group. It's so very interesting. I realize as a Caribbean person, the history in our time might not be as long as the Greek Empire, but it doesn't mean we don't have culture. Even if it's 200 years of culture, or if you want to go back to the mainland or the mother country, whatever country you want to describe, because it's not just Africa that we're talking about. So in saying that, I think it depends on if you want to look at it. I also learned this here in this group as well. If you want to look at it from a redemptive point of view, or kind of externally, what do you see in the marketplace? When you go to Kensington Market, do you want them to know where you're from because you wear a certain sort of clothes, or you act a certain way, or you talk with a certain accent? Or do you want your own people to treat each other a certain way. So once you made up your mind in that respect, I think it's easy to see you have culture. It's what you want out of the culture. And that's what I get from this this statement. Are we suffering an identity crisis? Like, it's kind of, it depends on who's going to judge. If we're judging it ourselves, we know, and I've learned, and I continue to learn what I have and what I have to offer, right? You know, Jamaica has tourism, Trinidad has oil. Everybody knows these little things, 100 to $1 ratio, all these little things. Independence was in the 60s for many countries, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on for infinity. But when you want to contribute to the Canadian culture, because that's who we are, Caribbean Canadian. So again, is it from you contributing out, or everyone sitting in Kensington Market and saying, I'm bringing mangoes, you're bringing Portuguese fish, you're bringing Italian cheese, and do the Italians and the Portuguese give you your props? That's what I'm hearing. Who's deciding that you have a crisis in the Caribbean, that you don't stand for anything, or that you're doing that, right? And who cares, right? So I care today. Thank you.
That was a good answer, David.
Beverly?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a great answer. All great answers. Can I just have a minute to explain what I meant by the quote?
Sure.
So this quote here I put on social media as a catalyst for discussion, right? Consider that we have an identity crisis. And yes, I'm talking about from ours. I'm only looking inwards. I'm not looking at other communities or what they think about us. I'm talking about what I think about our community. Now, with the social movement, which is what we are, you have to identify the crisis. That's what a social movement is. It addresses a crisis, right? And in this case, these three organizations, the bigger picture is that we are addressing this identity crisis. Yes, we have things going on like programs and games and activities and social meetups and stuff, but the bigger picture is we're addressing the identity crisis. The reason why I say that, some of the reasons is, there's a lot, but some of the reasons is, one, there's a disconnect between the Caribbean nations, right? There's a disconnect. We don't know each other's nations. We don't know much about each other. I think Lynette said it, right? Like, she's a proud St. Lucian, as she should be, proud Lucian as she should be. But in Canada, you're better off knowing all of your brothers and sisters from the Caribbean. It benefits you, it benefits your kids, grandkids, etc. So I recognize that there's a disconnect. There's also a disconnect between the ethnicities. So if you identify as Afro-Caribbean, you may not know an Indo-Caribbean or a Chinese Caribbean or a Spanish Caribbean. And that's a problem. It starts out small, but in Canada, it can actually impede us from, because what I'm trying to do is get us to where we're thriving, right? So maxing out on all the ways we can thrive as a community. And it's closing in the gaps. There's also where in Canada here, some of us choose to identify with labels rather than our identity. So choosing Black and brown over saying I'm Caribbean Canadian, or I'm Vincentian, or I'm Jamaican Canadian, or Lucian Canadian. Instead, we choose to use words like Black and brown, which doesn't honor our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors, our history, right? Accurately. Fitting in versus belonging. A lot of us in our community, they confuse fitting in for sense of belonging. It's not the same thing. They're actually opposites, right? One actually gets you towards filling a basic need, which is sense of belonging. And the other one is where you seek the approval of others. Fitting in is you will compromise yourself so that you fit in with a group of people and you get their approval. Totally different. Lack of education. I think I kind of said that already. We don't know much about our history. I think we talked, right? Oliver and I were saying that the 43 nations You can't find that anywhere. You can't find any accurate account of the Caribbean as a collective. Yes, you can look up Guyana. Yes, you can look up Jamaica, but the overall picture, you can't find it. You have to do that work yourself to find it. The kids don't learn it in school either, right? Which is why Lynette's walking around in her Northwest Territory with a map. Good for her. And thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. And then, of course, there's, at the end of the day, it's having a huge economical impact on our community as well. But with all these disconnects and holes and lack of identity, it impacts us economically in this country because we're not working together to create businesses, to support each other, to encourage entrepreneurship, right? And we end up, you know, in this dependent relationship with Canada. We're not prominent here in Canada after all these years. Since the 1700s, we've been here. Like Oliver said, our identity is not even a box to tick on a form yet. We're not seen, we're not heard as a community. And that's our problem. That's not anybody else's problem. That's our responsibility to make sure that we're seen and heard. Lynette can't do it by herself in Northwest Territories. So that's just a few of the reasons why, to explain this quote that I put on social media.
Yeah, Camille, can I add that I think there is a great age divide too when it comes to the crisis. I think people in my age group, 50s, 60s and older, probably have more of a connection with the islands than the younger people. I'm telling you, when I grew up in St. Lucia, nothing happened at New Year's time until that boat came in from St. Vincent. When that boat came in from St. Vincent on New Year's Eve, that's when the fete started, the Vincentians arrived. Then we had inter-school tournaments when we had the Bajans and we had the Trinidadians playing netball and we had the different groups coming to the islands to play soccer. We were really one Caribbean then. Things have really gone awry so much since then. And now we have all become independent, so to speak, and we don't even know about the other islands. I was really appalled years and years ago when a Jamaican, or was it a Trinidadian, had to go to a travel agent to find out about the Caribbean island, which Caribbean island. I said, you have to go to a travel agent to find out about, I think it was a Jamaican, to find out, excuse me, Jamaicans, but Jamaica was there and the rest of the Caribbean was there. Anytime a Jamaican went on a vacation, it was to North America. They went to the US or they went to probably Canada, but never to the smaller islands. We are always considered smaller islands and really not important smaller islands. But you know, the young people in particular do not have that connection to the Caribbean like we had in those days. I mean, but coming back to the Canadian connection, right now, there's not, St. Lucia has if we have to have a function, we have to rent a hall. The Vincentians rent a hall, the Kittian. We really should have a Caribbean place where we can all get together and all have our functions. At this point in time, we should be able to buy a building, really, buy our own building and have this building, a Caribbean place where we can have maybe our high commissions, where we can have our functions after hours. But we are so divided. We are so fighting against, there's a lot we have to do. But I guess this is where it starts. This is where we can see where the divide is and probably make some sort of a conscious change. But that's my contribution.
Thank you. Really, really great points. And yeah, I've heard, you know, many times about, you know, we should have a building, but I'll just say this, that I think sometimes that it would be great, yes, but then I think the situation is going to happen where it's going to be like, who's going to run it? Who's going to do this? So that's going to open up a whole other can of worms right there, you know? So, but hopefully, you know, in our lifetime, it'll happen, right? I'm hoping. Does anybody else have anything to say? Or
Just
I can
lots
carry
on
on.
the chatter, Bev. Yeah,
Oh, sure.
Danielle's indicated that she's learning a lot from this, and Oliver says the unity starts here. Started 6 years ago, and everyone's saying, let's go.
Mhm.
I'll just bring it to your attention, Beverly. We're at the 7:50 mark, 10 to 8.
Okay. I got a few pages to go still. Okay. I'm going to pass the, no. Okay, let me just go on to the next one real quick. So this is what we're doing. We're tackling it by forging a collective perspective, direction, and working unity. So because of our closeness for time, I'm just going to move on to the next slide. And Camille, this one is for you.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so just really briefly, because this was covered in the video that was that all the participants were required to watch ahead of time. So I'm not going to spend too much time here, but basically what I was trying to illustrate here is this movement is reflecting Maslow's hierarchy of needs. For those of you who are familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, so on the top right corner of the screen, the tiny triangle, that's the Maslow's hierarchy there. And where we're starting from is belongingness and love needs, the psychological needs, which is the first red arrow, right, that you're seeing there. I don't know if it's a light peach color. That's where this organization starts. One of our main mandates is to make sure that our members feel a sense of belonging, right? And having a collective perspective, knowing who you are, where you come from, knowing your roots, knowing about the different Caribbean nations, filling in the gap, the age generation gap, having different age groups on the call, different ethnic, all of that is towards building a sense of belonging. And as I mentioned before, that's different from fitting in. That's not what we're going for here. So our beliefs are the 12 boxes at these organizations in our movement. This is what we promote. We promote things like progress and moving forward. We promote the Caribbean Canadian identity. We don't use colonial or racist labels like black, brown, or white. We promote growth mindset and solutions rather than sitting around and just talking about problems. We promote knowledge and information, inclusion and friendship, sense of belonging, free will and freedom, communication. Talking is another issue that we have in our community. We don't talk.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk in our own personal circles, let alone between the countries, between the ethnicities. We're not talking. We will dance. Yes, when the boat comes in, we're dancing. Actually, when Lynette said the Vincentians boat come in, the first thing I thought was, when the Vincentians touch down, the whole place shell down. I think that's what they like to tell us, right? I believe it. I know that. Okay, forgiveness and reconciliation and healing. That's what we promote here, rather than resentment and staying in a funk and being angry. Presence, being present. Participation, engagement, like what all of us are doing tonight on this call. Independence and self-reliance and autonomy versus depending on other people to validate us, to approve us, to when we need help, we have to go outside of our community to get the help. When we need to buy something, we have to go outside our community to buy something, right? So we're promoting the opposite of that. Having our own, doing our own, solving our own issues, getting on with it. Reinventing, redefining, and renovating. And lastly, accountability and responsibility. Those are our 12 main values or beliefs. So if someone was interested in becoming a member of this movement, they would have to believe the same things. We want like-minded people to join the movement. So I think that's all I wanted to cover here on this slide.
Okay, thank you. So this also goes back to what Camille was just saying, reclaiming and reinventing the Caribbean Canadian identity. So once we accomplish what Camille was just talking about, then we'll be able to speak intelligently about it outside of our own circles, and as a way to let people know, hey, there's this group of people now, and they're normal or else, you know, and we should wear it proudly. Collective conflict duration over time. Social movements may be defined as beliefs in solidarity, which mobilize about conflictual issues through the frequent use of various forms of protest. So I don't think we're protesting, but we're definitely coming out with a stronger voice. I don't even want to say louder, but a stronger voice. So I'm looking forward to change happening. Would somebody like to read this one for me? Don't make me pick.
The power of a movement lies in the fact that it can indeed change the habits of people. This change is not the result of force, but of dedication, of moral.
Thank you, thank you.
What habits do we want to change?
I guess. That's a good one.
Well, I guess. I see.
Sorry, go ahead,
it's
Lynette.
something that we probably have to discuss and recognize, because if we don't know what we want to change, then change is going to be difficult to change.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Camille has to say about that.
Oh, there's a lot to say about that. but let me just let Beverly continue, because I want to make sure. Okay. Oh yeah, we're getting to that though, Lynette.
Yes, yeah. Good, okay.
Okay, so we are fostering a collective sense of positive self-esteem, community, and belonging. So that's, I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
So this is our vision for our organizations, a thriving Caribbean Canadian community. And our mantra is, we are here, accomplished and united.